Hi, good evening. Again, a late session today on our, I can't even remember what day it is, 85, I think it is, for 99 days. So another 2 weeks to go. Today I want to continue a little bit more about relationships, but specifically about the dynamic of infidelity. And this is a very personal subject to me, so I'm really wondering I'm going to share this or what's coming up for me. But it's well, that has happened actually today and in the past week about my theme around relationships and how I have had a extra interest in connection between people, and especially in loving relationships. I've always felt for myself that my relationships and my ex-partners and current partner have had the most influence on my growth, and I've learned the most in relationships. But I've also been always very interested in the very subtle dynamics of relationship, probably because connection is one of my core themes, as you know. So the interest I specifically had why it is that people hurt each other when they say they love each other. And that's always like a big question mark for me. Why would you do that? You can hurt each other in a relationship in many different ways. I mean, you can be very unkind to each other because you feel hurt yourself, but you can't express that. So you get annoyed, irritated, or bossy, or always put the other person down instead of giving the person thumbs up or compliments, or you're controlling the other person. There are many ways you can hurt each other. And I believe that this honesty lies underneath all these things. It's this honesty first with yourself. And because you're not honest with yourself, you project it on the other, like I explained 2 days ago. So that's a big one. But then there's this other topic on infidelity. And I've noticed lately that, well, not just lately, for many years already, that in every movie you watch, it always is something about infidelity. There's always one being unfaithful to his partner. And if that comes up almost in every movie, at least it comes up in every romantic movie almost. It comes up in most movies actually. And especially when you have a series, like a television series, it comes up big time, the theme of infidelity. And having affairs outside relationship. And I'm really wondering if we're confronted with that so often, then it kind of feels normal, doesn't it? We kind of like finding excuses that it is kind of a normal thing. But how normal is it? How normal is it to be unfaithful to a person you love? Or at least you tell you love that person so much, and he or she is the most important person in your life, and then still there's this weak moment where you decide to say yes to another person, even if it's just for one night or one evening, or even if it's just the thinking of falling in love. I mean, it's a separate discussion when infidelity actually starts. Is it with the thinking? Is it with falling in love? Is it with the kissing? Is it with the whole thing? Is it with sleeping with someone else? And I talked to you 2 days ago about the fact that if you have a commitment, there's also there should be an important awareness about the energetic commitment. And then I gave the example about the innocent flirt. And obviously, having an affair is a lot more than innocent. But you can imagine that it doesn't take the complete energy out of the relationship. It also takes actually the respect out of the relationship. So why would you risk that? Why would you risk that moment that you have this, this moment of weakness, I can call it, if you're in a long relationship? Why would you risk that? What's actually happening? And some might say it's a core instinct, like you forget all about the normal human behavior and this instinct to hunt, like the instinct from the man is coming up, and the instinct from the women is to be open and receivable when a man is coming by that fits the picture. But adaptive, really, if it is that instinct, I think it's ego actually, which is driving us to these moments, these weak moments, and ignore the rational, logical mind that you should not do it. Ignore the heart, that it might be very painful for the others, especially the last one you're ignoring. You think like, well, either he or she doesn't have to know, or it's okay if I do this, it's just for one time, or whatever excuse you come up. Or you think I'll make myself with a nice excuse out of this to myself. Because obviously most of the time we want to keep it a secret to the other partner or to your partner. And so what's actually driving us to do that? Is it really because we are confronted with it as just a normal thing in so many stories and movies we see, and so many people have experienced it, either being the victim of it or being the actual one who did it, who had an affair. And I would say if you are an awake and aware person, or at least if you're conscious about what you're doing, then there's so many moments where you can stop yourself. So why aren't you doing that? What is that big excuse you make for yourself that you're not doing that? And the other thing is, why is it happening in the first place? If someone else is attractive to you while you're in a relationship, why does that happen in the first place? Why can somebody else attract you? Is there something wrong in your relationship that happens? And I'm not saying that all affairs are the cause or the reason to end a relationship. That's not my message here. This is more like contemplating it more like on a bigger theme, like why is it happening so on such a big scale? And why is it hurting so many people? Because what you do when it happens to you, when you are the victim of it, then you actually just shut down. You remove your heart, or you close your heart from your partner because you have been hurt. And it's really difficult to open again. So that one night might cause actually a lot of other pains. And you might lose respect for the other person, or you will probably lose respect for the other person. And then you have to go through the whole process of trusting again. And most of the time, the one who did it treats it quite lightly, and the one who became a victim can treat it very harsh, and it's hard to forgive. So there are a lot of processes happening then, which are actually hard to heal. And you take the experience, especially when you're the victim, you take that experience onto the next relationship. And when you're the one who did it, then you might also take that to the next relationship and might do it again because you got away with it, for instance. Or you find it was okay because nobody found out. So how do we stop this pattern? And do we want to stop this pattern in the first place? Is there a reason? Or is it from an awakened perspective? It doesn't even make sense? I mean, if we're all one, you're literally hurting yourself. I know this is a sentence which is hard to believe for many. But at least if you're so connected to a person and you're committed to that person, why would you do that? I'm not saying that everyone is doing it. Luckily, hopefully not. Um, but it happens more often, I think, than we like. So it's again about going back to the commitment. If you say yes to each other and you're committed to each other, then there are some implicit ground rules. And we all assume that we know these rules. We all assume that we know how the other person thinks about it because we think that everyone has the same upbringing. But we don't even literally, or most of the time, we don't even share it with each other how you think about these things. And for some people, it might be different than for other people. Or they might have had different experience in their youth by experiences from their parents that might have hurt them more, or an example that they treated differently. So instead of just ignoring the topic, open up to that topic. How do you think about it? And how painful is it for you if it would happen, if your partner would do that? Or how likely do you think about it yourself? Or can you imagine doing it? Or not? And when is it okay and when is it not okay? There are lots of questions rising up around this topic, and it's I think it will be very helpful for relationship to just open up the conversation about it at least, so at least you know how the other partner feels, and talk also about the little nuances in infidelity. Like for some persons, it's normal to just keep on flirting with other people. And is that acceptable for your partner? And then, of course, jealousy comes in. And when is it really jealousy, or when is it just a lack of trust? Because a lot of the times, the person who shows jealous behavior is most of the time not feeling enough trust in the relationship. So then this comes up again and again of showing jealous behavior. But the actual conversation should be about, well, I just don't trust it. And why don't I trust it? Is there a reason not to trust it? Or can we talk about it? So that little, well, not little, but that insecurity is healed, or that uncertainty is healed. Because so many behavior in relationships happen so unconsciously, and if we don't talk about it with each other, then jealousy turns into annoyed partner, and annoyed partner turns into the one who is actually perhaps seduced one evening by another person and thinks like, well, my partner was so jealous always, I'm okay doing this now because she thinks I'm doing it anyway, so I better do it, or it's okay to do it. So then one thing leads to the other. But I'm particularly really amazed how this theme comes up in every play I have seen lately and over the past year. It's like it's always about this affair as like of a nice tension to a movie. So if it is a nice tension, a positive tension to the movie, then it might be a nice positive tension to your relationship. I mean, isn't that what you then automatically unconsciously are feeling or thinking? And we created movies with each other. I mean, of course, it's created by companies, but we watch it and we confirm it by watching it that they're good movies. And it's not just, of course, about infidelity. It's about a lot of other topics as well. What we keep confirming, what we never would like to have happening in real life. So how useful is it to have movies you don't want to happen in real life? So you create a tension of things you don't want to happen, and unconsciously, actually, you create a pattern that it's okay that these things happen. It becomes like kind of normal. So in that sense, we are even programmed by the movies and the stories we watch or listen to, or the stories we read. So yeah, so besides the infidelity, I also had a beautiful conversation today with one of you about my follow-up in this program. I've written the new program. I've already shared that, but I'm now gonna rewritten it or refocus it a little bit. I'm really gonna focus on loving relationships, because I've felt for a long time that there's so much pain happening in relationships, the intimate relationships, I'm meaning them. And there's so many people hurt by relationships, by the lack of love, or the miscommunication, or the fact that the relationship shows patterns that can't be turned, or the dynamics that have to change. And I'm really, really happy and passionate about making this my new direction, because it feels like it's a little bit more specific in helping people than just general waking up. And of course, this what I shared here in the 99 days will be the core part of the new program as well, because it's about awakened relationships. It's about conscious relationships. And yeah, and I think if we can heal relationships with our intimate partners, we will also heal relationships more easily with our friends and with our family. Because if you're not feeling comfortable or at home or vulnerable in your most intimate relationship with your partner, then how can you be in other relationships? So for me, it's kind of like the base ground of our societies, and of course, a lot of children also endure pain. I mean, I'm a divorced one myself, so I know how much it hurts children. I'm not saying that every relationship should last forever, not at all. But the pain that is endured in relationships is still felt by children, one way or the other. So anyway, so my next focus will be more on people who are in relationship right now, and they don't have to join as a couple. They can also join as just one person of the couple who feels more drawn to this program. And I know from experience, or it is at least my belief system, my belief actually, sorry, that if one person in a relationship opens up and awakens and tries to show different, or will show different behavior, and is more stable as a person in the relationship, and can be more approaching the other person from love and not from annoyance, irritation, victim role, controlling behavior, then the partner who might not have gone through this awakening process awakens as well. Just because he has a different, he has a partner with a different, or showing a different emotions and behavior. So yeah, so this is perhaps a little bit different sharing than others, and I also feel a little bit different today. Perhaps because it's this sudden confirmation that I have to switch my course a little to actually really admit to myself that this theme has been there for a long time within me, and I've always said, like, oh, one day I want to work with couples. And today I thought, like, why should I wait one day? I mean, I can work with couples now, or I can work with people who are having questions about relationship and want to turn it into healthy relationships. So yeah, that's what's coming up for me today. And knowing myself, that might get a few other alterations probably. But I really felt like sharing a bit more about this topic, also about infidelity, because it's personally a very sensitive topic to me, and I know it's for many. It's for many others in many relationships. Always a sensitive topic. So, and perhaps I had to watch this so consciously over the past year in so many movies and so many stories to just um, really be more focused on this theme in general, and the pain that's happening in relationships. So yeah, well, it's a weird one today. I hope it's okay for you, and I hope you get something out of this one. Well, okay, I'll see you back tomorrow. And the question still remains: if you have any topic you would like me to share upon one more time, or two more times, or whatever your request is, please share, because these last 14 days are really up to you all. I don't have much news to share, but probably every day something news comes up anyway, like today. So yeah, let's see what comes up tomorrow. And if you have something to add, please share it in the group or directly to me. Okay? Thanks a lot. Bye.